welcome to the Local Love Podcast. This is episode 3. I'm Tony.
Sam.
It's me, Manny.
The R&B background voice, and we have our special guest.
I'm Nisa or Blue.
Nisa or Blue. So if you're confused, good. Her pronoun is blue.
That way.
Her pronouns are blue.
And we're canceled.
I apologize if I offended anyone. That was just a joke.
So,
anyways,
why they call you Blue?
It was forever ago. I used to work at Target, and my boss refused to learn my name, even though we wore our name tags. And I had blue hair, and he was like, "Blue, come over here." And I'm like, "Me?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so then it just kind of caught on, and everyone was like, "Oh, Blue." And I'm like, "I'm wearing a name tag."
Lucky your hair wasn't pink.
I know. Well, when I changed it, they're like, "What do we call you? Green?" And I'm like, "Whatever." I guess.
Now you're Blue.
Now I'm blue. Stuck.
Commedia.
Comma what?
That song, how does it go? Blue, Commedia, Blue. You right?
Blue song? Are you just making a song?
No, it was a blue song. There is a song called, like, they would sing a blue. They said blue.
Is it that one where it's like,
What?
Blue? Like,
Yeah, there it is.
yeah.
Oh, that one. Okay. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Like, wait, what?
You guys said you guys are from the 90s.
As we said, random conversation. So today we want to cover through a few things. We're going to definitely talk to Nisa/Blue.
Did you wear that shirt because Blue?
Pretty much. It was an honor.
Feel supported.
Actually, I just threw it on because it was clean. It was iron and it's new.
It was ironed. Someone just walked in your house and ironed it for you?
No, I ironed it, but it was ironed. It was already ironed. I didn't have to iron it when I left because I already had ironed it.
I don't even iron shirts.
It's wonderful. No, so we wanted to talk through some business tips, as well as we're going to be talking through. We had originally announced we were going to do the facials. We're going to postpone that. We're going to talk into facial cleansing and things like that. Just tips that you could be doing at home, and then we'll have our speed round of random topics, and then also just talking about Blue and her kind of choice and career of being a barber. So again, hit the like and subscribe button. Definitely leave comments, questions, whatever you may have. Definitely trying to build that community out there for small businesses and just people in general. So one of the things we did want to promote very quickly is I think when you talk business and small business, I don't think it's ever too early to start teaching about having your own business. I think that's one thing that I don't think is taught enough. I do think education is important. I do think people should go to college or a trade or whatever it may be, like, barber and school and things like that. But the business aspect of it and having that entrepreneur spirit. And so with that said, we are all wearing these bracelets here. It's probably hard to see it. We'll try to put something up. We'll have something in the description, but this is actually Mia's Vibes. She's selling these for $5. She can customize them for you guys. She made these customized for us for Local Love on there. And she's, I think, like 12 years old, I think. 12, 13, something like that.
Wow.
I don't think she's 13.
I think she's 12.
Wow.
You get free
mindset.
And
yeah, she throws a little thing on there, yeah. It's called Mia Vibe. It's Giving Mia. And we'll put her we'll put the email address on there so you can she's working with her mom and her parents with this, so we'll put the email address on there if you want to order some. Definitely encourage, as we talk small business and stuff, it's definitely good to encourage your kids, even if the business is successful, right? They may not make a multi-million-dollar business out of it. Maybe they do, but teaching them early about
failure at a young age.
But it's even just learning the different things, like, because one of the things we're going to talk about is how do you manage supply and demand during inflation? How do you handle orders?
How do you manage your money?
Yeah, so I think it's very good to do that. So again, our viewers out there, go ahead and support her. We'll have the email in the description, so reach out to her if you want to order some for you and your family.
Is there a price range? Or
I think it's $5. I don't know because if you customize it more, if it costs more, but you can reach out to her and get more details.
Get them while they're 5, because inflation is probably going to raise them to 7. So
it might happen, but hey, like we said, we want to encourage all small businesses. So even little ones that are started in a kid's little dream, I think it should be encouraged. So
Definitely.
Yeah. So with that said, I mean, jump, and then we'll probably be having some here in the shop too. Some local loved ones. So if you want to support us as well, you can buy it, but the money is going to her. So we'll have some of that going on.
We'll take a little bit off the top. Maybe $1.
That's when the price goes up to $5.50, $6. Distributor costs. All right, so let's jump into this. So, like I said, we're going to go into some business tips here in a moment, but we definitely have Nisa on here. So, Nisa, you're one of the barbers here at Local Love Classic Barbershop, which most people who are probably viewing this either have been to our barbershop or know about it, so it's not a surprise for them. Any new people that are watching it may be wondering, a girl in a barbershop.
Yeah.
The blasphemy, I know.
So let's get into that. So why did you decide to be a barber?
I knew I wanted to be like in the hair industry after I figured out like that being a veterinarian, which was my original plan, was going to be like 8+ years of school and very expensive because I wanted to go to Auburn. And I was like, women seem like a lot sometimes, and I know that because when I would get my hair cut, women are very picky. They're like very specific. They'll bring in like a picture of like J-Lo, and if they don't walk out looking like J-Lo, it's like meltdown central.
Like J-Lo from the hair, or just like they think they're gonna get a
like,
haircut and their whole body
why is
transforms
my
into
hair-
J-Lo?
Their hair is like not as short as yours, but want like the works.
I mean,
George Lopez trying to look like J.
because you'll make a lot of money. Hey, who's gonna be like? Are you talking about me looking like George Lopez going to teach? Oh, I was like, wow. I was like, oh, shots fired early.
A little.
Anyways, but if you were able to transform someone to look like J-Lo by merely cutting their hair,
I mean,
there's money in it.
that's a long process. But men typically are pretty easygoing for the most part. I mean, as long as you have like good conversation, a decent haircut, it's pretty dope. Plus, like they're kind of in and out, so you're not spending 6 hours with like the same person.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And you're not risking melting their hair or anything like that.
Like, I mean, the worst I can do is like cut it too short, and that just like prolongs your haircut.
It'll grow back, of course.
Yeah, it'll grow. It's like, that's typically like always like, oh, if we go too short, it'll grow back.
Yeah.
So how do you handle it when someone walks in and whether they book or they don't know that you're a female, and they come and they're like, oh, you're cutting my hair?
Or has that ever happened? Let me put it like that. Has that ever happened to you? Have you booked somebody
like
and they get here and be like, oh,
I've had somebody literally walk into the shop, not this shop, a different shop that I worked at. I was at the time cutting someone's hair. I was cutting a man's hair.
Yeah.
He walks in and he looks at me and he's like, do you cut men's hair? And I looked at the door because it says Barbershop on the door, and I'm like, literally in the act of cutting a man's hair, and he was like, do you cut men's hair? And I was like, yes I do. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, I'll get you right after this. And I was just like, that was the dumbest question.
You should have told the guy in the chair, hey, I don't think he thinks you're a man.
I was like, what happened? I mean, I understand from like a certain perspective of like some older fellas who think like women only cut women's hair and men cut men's hair.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what you get a lot here is they think you do women's hair too.
And which is totally like a totally fine question. I don't mind like being like, oh yeah, I cut like mostly men's. I mean, there's some women, but like the women that get haircuts or that I cut their hair is like clipper cuts or short haircuts, like cuts like Tony or something like that, where it's like really short on the sides. So
she looked at mine. She's like,
I was like,
her like Tony.
Well, that's as far as that goes. But like, as far as like, if I were to have to cut my hair, I have no idea.
So when you were going to barber school, like, was there other girls in your class? Because I know there's other women barbers. It's not like you're the only one, but was like
there was a handful of girls in the whole like school. I had like 2 in my class, but when I was in barber school, I started with a class of 18, and I was the only one to graduate. That's the kind of school we went to. You either got kicked out or like they just dropped out.
Yeah. So she She was the number one in her class.
I was top of my class.
Nice. Valedictorian.
Yep,
Did you give a speech?
I did.
Nice.
It was all right, guys. See you later, and I like left without telling anybody it was my last day.
Haircut for one, haircut for all.
Like everyone got to take like a really cool class photo at the end of the year, or like when they were leaving. So everyone's like holding their little plaque, and like their classmates are behind them. And I literally told one person and one instructor, and I was like, I took my plaque, and I was like, okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Everyone's like, all right, bye, and I just left and never came back.
Dirty.
Just disappeared. Just disappeared.
Right.
I took one photo. It wasn't even at the school. It was like we went to Chacha's afterward.
So I mean, so being a woman in a predominantly men industry, like what are some of the things you run into, or what do you think you sometimes face that like Sammy's not gonna have to face because he's a guy?
Yeah, the challenges of being a woman barber.
Just getting asked if I can cut men's hair, which is still super weird. Like, I would understand even more if I worked in a salon and someone came in and was like, do you cut men's hair? But if I work in a barbershop, you would think that, like, well, of course she cuts men's hair. Why would she work in a barbershop?
Yes, that's a really weird one. Even for me, I was surprised how much until I had to answer the phone and stuff, and I'm like, they're like, oh, because I'll be like, oh yeah, she has openings. They're like, does she do men's haircuts? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm saying she has openings, bro.
Or I get asked all the time, like, which he does too, like if he does any color, like, or perming, and like I know like the basics.
Not as much as you though. Like they used to ask me because I had color hair, but
yeah, I was like, it was worse when I had colored hair.
Since I got rid of that, like they don't ask me as much, but they ask you all the time, like.
Or the other thing.
Or you do perms.
Yeah, or they tell me how to do a haircut, which like it happens to Sam too. Where like literally today a guy came in and was like, I want like a 0 and then like a 1 and then like a 2.
Yeah, he walked her through the
and
haircut.
it happens like fairly often, but like it happens to Sam. I don't know if it just happens to me more.
What?
How when people tell you how to like. Here's how you're supposed to do a haircut. They always go 0, 1, 2. They're like, like it goes gradually. And I'm like, yep,
I literally just tell them, yeah, no, I know. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's why you came in here. Like, if not, we could switch roles. You can try to put my hair, see how far it goes.
So that's that.
Well, I can attest. You cut my hair. You did an excellent job. So
You cut
I was
my
completely
hair.
satisfied.
You did an amazing job.
Yeah, completely satisfied.
Cut everyone's hair in this room.
Yes.
Completely
Comment
satisfied.
is quiet over there. What?
You cut my hair and you did an average job.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
She's like, she's all right.
Shots fired.
All right.
It's because she's a lady.
She didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah,
No. You cut my hair, and I mean, even I think all barbers do this. Sammy does it too, but and I don't think but like, I know when I was getting my hair cut with you, when you cut my hair, that one time you were kind of telling me how you were layering it, right? I think Sammy will layer it, and he may not tell me, but that's also because I don't ask. I'm just like, whatever. And so that kind of helped explain it to me of what it is to layer hair, right? Because that's more, I don't know, is that more of a woman thing to layer? I don't know.
Me?
I'm asking you guys.
Me?
I'm asking both of y'all.
Yeah, y'all the
like, yeah.
professionals.
Like to layer, but I think depending on the hairstyle, you may layer it just because like you're.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I honestly don't know what a
Texturizer?
layer is. People ask me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, so Nisa, explain the layers.
so like layering.
Since
like,
we stumped Sammy on the.
It's like this layer, which is my shortest layer, and then there's like this layer, which is the longest.
Okay.
So it's kind of layered, I suppose. Like how your hair is on the side.
Yeah.
It's a little layered, but like for men's cuts, we mostly just call it texturizing because there's
Yeah,
not like
that's what I call
a
it. That's
huge
what-
difference
okay.
in length like how mine
Yeah.
is. There's just
Yeah.
it's
like,
subtle.
So it's supposed to just. But
Because
what
ours
does
is
it add
small.
to it for people that like so that they know when they're coming?
So like if you have blunt cuts,
Yeah.
you're gonna see the blunt cuts. You'll see like lines and stuff like.
Yeah.
So when you layer or texturize it, like if you look at your hair, it looks like it has a flow because all your hair is uneven. Really, we don't even it out, so it makes it flow better.
Okay.
Just has this like nice flow to it.
Okay. Which makes sense. Makes sense. So I mean, and those kind of the things that again, learning on layering or texturizing.
Yeah.
Texturizing 101.
I just tell them, yeah.
So,
Can you layer my hair? Yeah, they know how to layer your hair. More than likely, they don't know what layering is. They just heard it and they're like, "Oh yeah, saw a video. It said layering." I'm like, "Yeah, me too."
So, so also getting into like you've been working here for I don't know, is it 6-8 months somewhere around there?
Since we opened,
Since we've
Yeah, which is about 8 months, somewhere around there. About 8 months. I don't know what has been your experience so far. Like, go into your
dude,
barbershop
he
journey.
suck. That's what he's
Suck.
Dude, he suck as
the
owners.
worst barbershop ever. Just kidding. It's been pretty cool. Like,
It's great having you as a guest.
I like it. I like the environment. I mean, like, very fortunately, since I have been here since we started, I was able to kind of like help pick out like some of the art that's on the walls. Kind of like Sam would run ideas past me, so it's like I got to kind of, even though this is y'all shop, I like feel like it's a little part of me too, just because I got to be here from like when the walls were like that ugly pink and like mauve color, and we went to like
That color was
it
ugly.
was awful, and then there was like this weird wall in between where my station is, so like I really like it. I feel like I've been able to like grow my own little roots here.
That's dope. Tony
Definitely.
didn't know that you picked out the art. I can tell by his face. He was
He's
just like,
ju-
"What?"
Huh? Oh no, that didn't surprise me.
That's a better good thing. He's like, yeah, I can definitely I can see which ones she chose.
No, I'm not saying that as a good or bad thing. I'm just saying I'm not surprised. I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
surprising
I actually
fact to
really
me.
enjoy working here. Plus, I get to work with Sam, who's my best friend.
You're gonna cry?
Not right now. Maybe like in 20
Why did you
minutes.
friend zone me? I'm your boyfriend. She's like, he's a best friend.
Because you are my best friend.
I know, but you could say
Oh, this is about to sound like some relationship therapy
Here we go.
advice.
Here we go.
Here we go into relationships.
I get to work with my boyfriend / best friend.
Working on the clarification. Anyways, I guess so. Being through your journey in being a barber, like what you kind of have a unique story, right? So, I mean, if you want to kind of explain your kind of story, what you deal with as being a barber, not just a female barber, but you suffer from anxiety, right?
Yes.
And so, which is a lot of times being in a people person industry, probably not the best, it's not helpful. So kind of go into that, like, how did you first notice it? And then like, what have you done to kind of help you deal with it?
So when I was at Target, I first started off like in the back room, so I wasn't around a lot of people. But when I started barber school, I had to start working at night instead of early in the mornings. So they stuck me at the register. I hated it. And they were like, well, where do you want to go? And I was like, put me in like the cosmetics department. And they were like, cool. They did that. And I was like, oh, now I have to like sell makeup. Like I now have to be like one-on-one with people, asking questions, like, like recommending products and stuff like that. And I was like, how did I get myself in this kind of situation? Because I am terrified. So that kind of helped me. And then when I became a barber, I was like, oh no, I just did it again. Like where I got myself in a situation where I have to be one-on-one with people. Like first meeting you, I'm in your space. I'm not even like from here. It's like I'm 6 inches away from your head. So it's super nerve-wracking, and for the most part I can kind of just like work through it, but there's definitely days or times where like after a cut, if I'm like super stressed out about it or like my anxiety kicks in, you'll see me just like calmly walk to the back and I just sit there or like I stand in the back for a minute and I'm just like just breathing, because it is so like wild in my head that I'm like overthinking everything, and I start like having a little panic attack. And typically I can like calm myself down for the most part, but there is a struggle. Sometimes like Sam will look over and I'm just like, I'm sure there's panic in my eyes, or I'm just like, my eyes are all probably big and I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
But,
Did you get through it?
yeah.
And you found out like while becoming a barber, right?
Yeah, so like I was actually very luckily given a little bit of funding through the state to get to barber school. So I got like I think $5,000 to go to barber school, which at the time like was a little like barber school was expensive. So it was like a small dent, but like anything helps, you know. So because I'm dyslexic, and then I had to go through a whole bunch of tests, and then they were like, you also suffer from anxiety and depression. And so I was able to get like therapy sessions through the state, and that was really cool. And then I figured out like I didn't even know what anxiety was until I actually got diagnosed with it, because I grew up with the whole like, why are you upset, or like, why are you sad, you know, kind of thing. So after I kind of like figured out that's what I had, and someone helped me work through it, I realized like I do have anxiety. Here are some tools to like help you get through your day with, you know, like with it without taking any kind of medication. Not saying that like medication's bad, but kind of just being able to take myself out of that mindset and just keep going, because I feel like if I stopped every time I had like a panic attack or an anxiety attack, I would be sitting in my house all day.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna work out as an adult.
So what did you feel was the turning point on that? Was it the therapy, or kind of like what kind of got you? Because if I'm hearing you correctly, it's kind of, and I believe this, I don't think like if you suffer from anxiety or depression or whatever, the different things people suffer from, like even dyslexia, those don't ever fully disappear. You just learn how to deal with it in that moment.
Right. So like I just kept the therapy really helped, and it wasn't even like I was like digging deep and like having crying fest, like bringing stuff up out of my childhood kind of thing. It was a weekly thing where I would just go to my therapist and talk about my day or talk about my week and just stuff that kind of stressed me out, and she would give me like, okay, well, why did that stress you out, or like why did that send you into like an anxious kind of mood? And I would explain to her like, oh, I think it was this, and she was like, okay, cool, like here's ways we can kind of, she would call them tools, like here's some tools that you can use to kind of help combat that. And like one of them was breathing exercises, and that actually helped a lot, where you just kind of take time to like, I would walk off from what I was doing and just kind of like try to center myself again, try to compose myself, because if not, I was gonna like freak out. And so that actually helped a lot. Therapy helped a lot. So anytime anybody talks about therapy, I'm like, do it if you can.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely think therapy is good. And I think mental health is definitely important. I think even whether it's small business or in your corporation or whatever, wherever you're at, I mean, having that extra layer of help, talking to somebody, dealing with things. Because again, some of this stuff. So do you like at times as you're cutting hair, you know, you have people coming in, you're dealing with anxiety on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's.
But it doesn't stop you.
No, yeah. I mean, like, there's definitely times where, like, it tests me, like, a lot, and I have to just kind of keep going through it. But I try not to let it defeat me. Like, I try not to let it stop me from doing stuff. And, like, even Sam will know, like, when we go out, or, like, you know, the rare occasion we do actually go out somewhere, like, big crowds will really freak me out. Yeah. And so he has to kind of help, like, guide me through it. Like, it's going to be okay, you know, like, it's going to be fine. You know, like, because I'm like, oh my God, people are looking at me like, oh, there's so many like people here, and he kind of like helps walk me through it, and like.
And more than likely, people are looking at me like I'm the guy with the face tattoos and the tattoo on the head. So
they're not worried about you. Yeah. But yeah, so like you just gotta keep kind of pushing, and it's hard sometimes, but it eventually it gets a little easier. Like, but like you said, like it's never gonna go away. Like I'm not gonna wake up one day and be like, I don't have anxiety anymore. Like.
Yeah.
Ideally, that would be cool.
And I think that's what sometimes people, I don't know, my assumption is that sometimes people who suffer from this think like, oh, maybe one day it'll just go away, or one day it'll just disappear.
Some people think they can get healed from it.
Yeah.
I think you can live with it, but I don't know, like some things you just don't get healed from. Like you just learn how to deal with it. Like she's has. But that's helped you with like clients too, right? Because like clients relate to you a lot because they deal with that.
So I have a lot of really quiet clients, and like I don't know if it's just me being upfront with them, or like I'll see that they're nervous, and I start like, hey man, like, are you okay? Or like I just kind of talk to them and ease them into it. And some of them are like, oh yeah, I just get really nervous like getting my hair cut. I'm like, I get it. Like I have anxiety too, and I kind of like make fun of it in a sense, because I'm just like, what else am I gonna do? Like. It's kind of like a let's make fun of my anxiety so it doesn't seem as scary. So now I have some clients that are like anxiety ridden like me, and it's kind of helped them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it probably helped both of you guys at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think when you kind of look at it, you have two choices. You either allow I don't know what you classify it as, but you allow that thing to either control you or you control it. Because you know it's going to come up. It's a matter of who's going to control what. Does the anxiety control you or do you control the anxiety?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's going to be days you lose the battle.
That's what I was gonna say.
Definitely
Sometimes
some
you're the
bad
victim, and sometimes you're not. Like, you know what? You try. As far as I can see, like she tries not to be a victim of it. And there's times when I'm like, it's cool. Like, you know, you let it win today, but it's cool. It's fine. Like, it's all right.
So if you could give someone that, whether it's going into barber, sales, whatever it is, you're starting your own business, you have to talk to people, you got to do things unless you're doing something online. What would be like, I don't know, 3 to 5 advice that you would tell someone who's dealing with anxiety and still having to, whether it's running their own business or working in a people industry, where they're going to have to run in and talk to people or be faced into people or be in people's personal space?
I don't know. Kind of like, I guess, just breathe. That's helped me. Try not to overthink it, and that's so much easier said than done. But just kind of like take it one step at a time. I cope with my anxiety through like making fun of it, kind of thing. So if I feel like if I'm upfront about it, people won't be as like she's being weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's being standoffish. If I'm just like, hey man, like I have anxiety too, they're kind of like put at ease because it's also relatable. I feel like a lot of people have anxiety, but either one, don't know, or two, just like don't say anything. So I feel like if they know like, oh, she has it too, but she's sitting here like totally fine, it kind of calms them down too, because it's just like, if she's fine, I'm fine, which I actually have that mentality with kids. Where like when I'm cutting their hair, because some kids freak out, I'm like, if they're cool, I'm cool. If they're cool, I'm cool. Like I just keep saying that in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one with kids because kids freak out.
Some kids freak out, which I mean, if they're kids. But sometimes when they do freak out, I'm like, yeah, buddy, same.
So especially
screaming.
We're both screaming.
So depending on your level of anxiety and what you deal with, I mean, do you recommend those people? I know you said therapy. Like, is it something that you recommend they continue to do, especially if they're dealing in a job where they're going to be facing people and most likely will run into situations that will make them anxious?
I mean, I feel like if you can afford it, or if you have access to it, go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I rode the therapy wagon till the wheels fell off, and like the state was like, all right, you're done. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Like, I was really grateful for it, but then I just started figuring out things that like helped me cope with it.
Yeah.
So like driving around at the time when gas wasn't like $5-6, that was really cool.
So now driving makes you anxious because
Driving makes you anxious.
I just blew $6 right there because I went down the street.
I used to just like drive around and like blast music that I was really into, and that helped a lot. Or like as funny as it is, like coloring.
Okay.
Coloring?
Kind of like
Whatever works.
just like focus in on one thing, so it kind of shut everything else down that I was like feeling anxious about, to kind of help like, hey, everything's fine, like nothing's burning down right now, just color your little pictures. As funny as it is.
No, I think those are good tips. I think that's typically what therapy does, right? So therapy is not just for someone to listen to you, but they give you tools on how to deal with situations and things that are going on. So I definitely think, like, I think whether you're running your own business or you're working in a small business or whatever the case may be, wherever you're working at, I think if you're feeling anxious from it, one, you should see if your job offers anything. Typically, small businesses don't, like, because that's.
But like, you guys offer it?
No, we do not. No, unfortunately. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we offer.
It's called the podcast. Welcome to the therapy session. You're sitting in the barber chair, the hot seat. That's where our guests sit, in the barber chair, the hot seat.
Hot seat.
Yeah.
I mean, we can even lay it back if you want, so you can feel like you're in a therapy
Oh
session.
my god, that would make me feel so like.
but I do think like if you're in a corporation or stuff, you should look at it, see what they offer, utilize it, and I mean I think it's good. I mean to have the tools and the things around it. One of the things you mentioned I didn't know is dyslexia. I did not know you had dyslexia. I know that's typically having to do with letters, readings, and stuff like that. But does that affect anything from a barber standpoint? Like,
nope. She come out here just fine.
Yeah, no. But I'm just saying, like, do you have to readjust, like, look at things differently because of it, or is it just purely because of is it just purely with letters and numbers?
Um.
And because there's different forms of it too, right? I mean, the range of it, of how severe it is to where it is different for people. So
Yeah, no, I don't know, honestly. Like, dyslexia is a learning disability. So, like, learning has been a little bit tougher at times for certain things, not just, like, reading or, like, math was really tough because I'll flip numbers.
yeah.
And so, like, I can tell you, like, a number backwards if you read it to me forwards. Like, it's so strange. So, like, studying for, like, my state exam and stuff was a little difficult kind of thing. But, like, when I first started learning how to cut hair, it was hard to grasp. And I don't know if it was just because, like, I am a female. So, like, I don't understand men's cuts. So I kept calling, like, a clipper a razor. And I thought a razor was a razor. So I just kept calling everything a razor. And so that was hard. So I don't know if that had anything to do with, like, my dyslexia or just me not knowing any of the tools that we were supposed to be using. So I was like, what's this? Or, like, that's a guard. And I'm like, cool. Is it, like, one is the shortest or is one the longest? And then, like, just look at it and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay. So you talked about that at Target, you moved into the cosmetic area, right? And so we definitely want to move into the facial part that we were going to talk about. Have you seen your experience in the cosmetic area help you with being a barber, working with men, things of that sort?
Yeah, I mean, like, barber school helped a lot, but, like, when I was in cosmetics, they did have us do, at the time, like, continued education kind of thing. So we'd have to do, like, these little PowerPoint modules, and it would break down, like, we're trying to sell mascara, so it'd have, like, different types of mascara and what you're looking for. And there was parts where it was, like, skincare. So we had, like, a whole skincare, like, month where everything that we showed or, like, we demoed or we tried to, like, kind of push with skincare. And so, like, I learned the different types of, like, cleansers and masks and toners and all that other stuff and the benefits of what it can do for your skin. And as far as, like, breaking it even more down, where it's, if you have, like, drier skin like Sam does, or if you have oily skin like I do, like, what's the best cleanser, what's the best kind of toner kind of thing. So that helped a lot bringing it here when we started doing, like, facials.
I didn't know Target went that deep.
Target actually does.
Yeah,
And
I'm surprised right now.
So as we're going into the tips and stuff, so one of the things we said we would be giving tips, whether it's men grooming, barbership, stuff like that. And I think we had talked about the whole facial process, but I think we decided to break it out into over several different episodes. And today we're talking about cleansers and scrubs. I think just more of the cleansing of the face, right? So I think tip number one, and you guys can echo this or not, is body soap is not meant for the face.
No.
And that's not something you always know sometimes. You're growing up, you use one bar of soap for everything.
It's also
Or
don't go and buy the 3-in-1. Like, that is
Stop
not a
using
real
that
thing.
stuff.
3-in-1 is not good.
Yeah, don't
That's
go.
geared towards men too a lot. Like,
It
women,
is.
They have, like, a whole aisle where
Well,
it's
because
full of
men are more ignorant about it.
Yeah, and I also think that it's more of when men are looking at it, it's about efficiency,
yeah.
right? So you get in, you get out.
Men don't care.
But women
We just want to get in the shower and
Listen,
get it
soap is
over
soap.
with. Right.
Women-
Just put it on, get it off.
Women understand skincare more, but I do think it's important. It doesn't take longer to do it. It's good for the skincare. It's good for just keeping a healthy skin, and it's not that much harder, right? So I think one is just having a good cleanser.
Yeah.
And you can go expensive, you can go cheap. It's all about finding the one that works for you.
Yeah, it's because men are honestly, they're ignorant about it. Because, like, I'll have guys and they won't say nothing, and after a while they're just like, yeah, my skin's just irritated. And then I start telling them, like, well, yeah, you got to do this and this, or it's because your skin's dry, you're probably washing your face with the wrong soap, or you're not using a moisturizer, and they'll tell me, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. The simplest, I think, even if you're just getting started with the basics, right? You can go into pretty extremes, but I think when you go into face cleaning and stuff like that, or face care, I think that the pure basics is you have a cleanser, you have a toner, and then you have moisturizer.
Yeah.
Now you want to throw a scrub in there every once in a while. The scrub is not a daily. This is going to be a little bit rougher, where it's going to cause for the word that I hate to say all the time because I can never get it right.
Exfoliating. Yes.
I had to hear someone else say it because it's not a word.
Yeah, I was going to try to stop Manny because I was just like, what is it, Tony?
I know you were. I saw you getting ready for that. It never rolls off the tongue right.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I think, and what's funny, I think like a tip for those of you out there, like you can definitely find different things. You can go to a Nordstrom, you can go to the Neiman Marcus, you can go to all these and you can find some expensive brands. But I actually think Target has quite a bit of good brands in there. Walmart will have some, but I feel like Target is actually.
And if you want to spend a pretty penny, Lush has
does do that.
Oh man, stuff. That store is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Like, man, I bought this body butter from there one time. Oh my god.
Your skin's so soft, right?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna pay.
Yeah, you're gonna pay.
But I definitely whatever.
Which I think you should.
Whatever.
It's an investment.
Typically, whatever cleanser you're getting, I definitely would get something that's gonna hydrate, because that's one of the main things, hydrating your skin.
Well, one of the things I think, just before we even get into that, is that men typically they think like, and rinse, and then they're like, it's clean.
Yeah.
You gotta get it in there. You gotta make sure it's in there, because most people don't, like, most men don't know that. They're just like.
So when you're saying getting in there, what exactly do you mean?
You're massaging it into the pores.
So like, pretty much like a circular motion.
Yeah, circular. Sometimes I do this, just like.
Yeah.
But
so, and do you want to explain why that is? I know you're talking about it right now, or do you want to explain like why do you go into a circular motion and?
Same thing.
Why do we do that?
I
feel like it's just like because you're like rubbing. It's like rubbing out the dirt.
It's going into the pores. It's supposed to go into the pores.
Right.
More
You're kind of like opening out and you can't do it with cold water, honestly.
Yeah.
It also helps.
But you don't have to go. But you don't want to go steaming hot either.
No, because that's how you dry yourself out too.
Yeah, you gotta find a good warm temp that's gonna open up the pores so that you can.
I mean, you can go pretty hot. You don't want to go super hot, like because our hot towels. That's why we do it. Because you want to open up those pores. Because if you have it cold, your pores aren't going to be open. So you just have like a shield pretty much on top of your pores. So you want it open, but like you don't want to keep it too hot the whole time. Like, and if you do have it hot, you have to cool it down too. You have to cool down your skin.
So there has to be some kind of balance.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you want to make sure you moisturize after that. Because hot water will really
What age should you start using cleansers?
I think when puberty hits.
Yeah.
Because that's when your hormones are going crazy. Like, you're gonna find out if you're an oily person or you're
dry.
You're dry, You're like a lot. That's why a lot of kids start like they're breaking out because like no one's telling them like, hey, you need to clean your face. Like, you actually like they just. Oh, I thought I did. Like, no, man, that's a bar of soap. Or
so
that's
how often should you be cleaning? How often should you be Axe body wash?
Body wash.
Going swimming like that high school gym. And nothing but young body odor, musk, and
oh my god, gym socks.
And that fresh Axe smell. It drives
right over the sweat. You just spray it over the sweat.
It's awful.
But
terrible.
So when you're cleaning your face with how often should you be doing it?
With the cleanser?
Yeah,
I do it every single day.
Yeah. I would say like I do it twice a day. Because like typically in the morning, like I have oily skin, so like at night I wash my face, obviously like wash off makeup to wash off the day or whatever. But then in the morning Sometimes I wake up, and especially during the summer, because it's
Wait, sometimes
Yeah,
you wake
of
up
course.
in the morning?
Just sometimes.
just sometimes.
It's so scary.
Sometimes when I wake up in the
So
morning.
when and if you do wake up,
So yeah, when and if I do wake up in the morning, I do wash my face.
So it's twice a day then. So you say like when you wake up and then when you go to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's if I wake up.
and I only do it once a day because my skin can't take it. Like it would get irritated really quick. Like
And I think that's where you have to go and you got to test out different items because you got to see what's going to work for your face. I think
yeah,
the very first thing, if the bare minimum, if you're not going to do all the other stuff, at least a cleanser and a moisturizer.
definitely.
And you got to find the right moisturizer for you because there's
Yeah.
different type of moisturizers out there. And
We're talking to men, right?
yeah.
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 So we have a clear understanding. We're talking about men.
We're talking about men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll help your skin.
Yeah. So
So pay attention, men. Pay attention.
I have my own,
Yeah.
routine of what I do.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
me, it's to, I will try to cleanse at least twice a day, moisturize both. And even like if I'm going to be outside, so like Sundays, we have our outside service. I definitely use a moisturizer that has an SPF,
There you go.
right? So, because the sun's rays are going to be harsh on you, right? I never thought about it before. It was just like, whatever. But more now that people work from home, stuff like that, you're in your house more, you're not out in the sun, like the sun affects you a lot more, and so I definitely use an SPF moisturizer. Those days I know I'm going to be out there. And then, I use a toner, and then every other week every other week, probably every other day, I will use a scrub, some kind of scrub, right? Whether it's a sugar or they have different types, and that's to more do that magical word.
Exfoliate. Exfoliate.
And so exfoliating, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that every
what?
day because that's gonna that's going to
Do what?
exfoliate.
Okay. Just making sure.
Are you about to spill out your coffee? Because he asked. I didn't even hear. He said do what? Like
That's all I hear is do it. Do it.
like if you do it. Okay. If we do that too often, you're gonna irritate your skin. It shouldn't be done too often. Maybe every other day, every few days.
It just matters how your skin is. Like my skin, I do it every day, and I don't because I need it.
Like the one I'm using right now, I can't remember the brand name, but it's a small one. I use it. It almost has like a peppermint smell, but I definitely moisturize out of that because like I do it when I'm in the shower, and I know it's the last thing I do when I'm getting out of the shower. And the moment I get out, I feel like my skin is drier using that exfoliating than it is the cleanser. So I definitely am like I have to moisturize.
You also need to make sure like if you're allergic to stuff, because there's people like that will put tea tree on themselves and they get allergic reaction. They're like, I thought it was supposed to help. It's like, well, you're probably allergic. You should test it out. Like you can, like, I mean, it's kind of harder because like you're gonna have to buy it, but like you just put a little bit on your skin or somewhere near your skin, like and like near your face, and if it irritates, don't use it.
Yeah. I will definitely say this. I think Target's a good place to go and check it out. If you're looking for, I think, is it Survey brand CERVE. That's they have a good night and SPF moisturizer that's reasonably priced. Because you are going to pay a pretty penny for it. But again, this should not go over your whole body. This is going into your face.
Honestly,
should last you at least a month or two or something of that sort.
Like, if you don't know like what to get, like Lush is a good place to go because they will walk you through it, and you just tell them like, hey, like my skin gets really dry, and they'll start pointing to stuff that you should take. And even when we went over there recently, where we're looking for stuff for the barbershop, they're like, oh, well, this is more like for everyone.
Yeah.
And like they're really cool. They will walk you through everything, but you're gonna pay a pretty penny. It's worth it.
Also try
I feel
stuff
like
while you're
That's
there.
because you know what? It's because they use all natural things. That's why they don't use too many. a lot of additives and different chemicals.
Yeah.
They use mostly natural
And
stuff.
from what I understand too, it's a lot of in-house creations. Like people that work for them create some of the stuff that you see on the floor and everything.
Like the packaging they give it to you in, there's like a little sticker at the bottom, and it has like a little like character drawing of like the person.
Yeah.
It'll be like created by Jason 24 from Seattle.
Yeah.
Kind of like it puts a face to like your products.
Okay.
That's cool.
But it's really worth it, honestly.
Yeah,
This is not sponsored by Lush.
it should be.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. It's Lush.
It's a good store, man.
It's like crazy.
Lush, hit us up. We'll
But
work things out. You guys can help Tony with saying his magical word.
Exfoliate
I can't
Huh?
say brewery.
brewery.
Brewery?
I don't know. Now I'm gonna say it like you because I just saw you say it.
I don't know. I can't say that word.
I'm not going to say the words that I can't say.
But
Can't say it.
can't say what I can't say. But I definitely say if you're not doing something, I definitely start with the small thing. Take small steps. Don't go overboard. You don't got to buy a whole shelf of 20 different items and stuff like that. Just go with the small stuff. Take the steps. Get a cleanser. Get a moisturizer. Start building your routine, and then you kind of go from there.
Fill it out. Like, it took me a while to find a moisturizer because, you know, I done creams, and creams don't really work on, like, once it's dry, and I just get dried up again. I've done more oily products, and that just, like, it irritates my skin after a while. Like, it was a serum from I think it's called Thayer's, right? That's how you pronounce
Their
that.
toner here.
Yeah, and
Their
I
toner's
use their serum, and it works perfectly for me. Like, I have it on right now, and I'm not too oily, or I'm not too, and I don't get dried up. Like yeah, I think you should definitely try out until you find the right one. And you got to understand, like, our bodies do naturally adapt to a lot of stuff. So you might, like, this stuff might work for a season, and then your body just starts adapting to it, and it learns to dry itself out in a way. Like, it's happened to me before, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I got to switch it out again.
And I think the other thing is to ask, right? Like, so we have comment section for the podcast. You guys can ask questions, stuff like that, or even when you're in
hit
the
us
barber,
up.
if you're in the barbershop,
ask us.
ask. That's what, you know. And I think always reliable source, Google.
Cool.
Just
Hit us up.
Yeah, just
you
just
can
ask
Google.
us.
You can Google and find some stuff. I've learned things off of Google. Well, I mean, you gotta. I mean,
You gotta really
Right.
dig for it. But if you want to, if you're here, just ask us, and we can at least point you like in a more better.
Okay, so
better direction.
we giving good tips on, you know, to men to give them good,
yeah.
you know,
It's not a
good
conversation
facial,
that they
good
always
facial.
have.
Right. So
self-care
so the question is, how could you motivate a man to want to do something like that, though? You know what I mean? Like, because most men are just like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's
You're
like
you're
Tony
going
said,
out,
you know, we
want to go out with like. crappy skin.
I think I would say be brave enough to try it out, because
Yeah.
I was definitely that way. I was
Tony
definitely not
definitely-
like, I am not
My
doing-
machismo,
I am
my
not
machismo,
doing
boy,
that
what?
crap. I'm not doing that crap. Like,
Right.
the soap is fine. Soap is soap.
right,
And
exactly.
then-
That's what I'm saying.
and then you try it out a few times,
And you're like,
this is right.
oh.
And it's like, hey,
this is nice.
This feels different. This feels better. I do like it. And you realize, like, yeah, okay, I carry a lot of oils. I carry this, and you do feel like, you know, it definitely does help, and it takes a while. Like, it's not easy. Like, you build it in, but you got to find what builds into your routine. Like, some people like doing it at the sink. I like doing mine in the shower. Like, I do my cleanser in the shower, and toner and moisturizer afterwards.
That's what I do it in the shower too.
So it's just a matter of what fits for you and what works. But I would say just try it out. Like, and I mean, worst case scenario, you're like, okay, it didn't work, and you go back to rubbing your face with Irish Springs.
Yeah.
Oh.
So horrible.
But what I was saying
Which I don't
earlier,
use Irish Spring, but
Or zest.
if you're like super curious, if you go to like Sephora, Ulta, or like even Target,
Samples.
yeah, you can ask for samples.
Samples.
Just be like, hey, I'm looking for skincare kind of stuff, and like they'll kind of walk you through like, oh, okay, well, what specifically?
Well, I think Lush will give you like a small.
Lush will
sample,
give you
too.
samples.
Yeah, I think
They'll
it
also
has
let you
some
try it in the
back.
store.
Yeah.
So definitely challenge you guys to at least, if you don't have a routine right now, go out,
Yeah.
get at least a cleanser and a moisturizer.
Please don't laugh when we say facial. You get that? I get it. I'm like, yeah.
You give a what? You give a what?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're like.
Put your kids on. This is where that conversation is.
Yeah. No, for real. Like, we'll be like, yeah, we give hot towel facials. You give what? And like, Jesus Christ.
That 16-year-old, 14, 13-year-old kid comes out of you.
Kicks
You
in.
what?
Yeah. Like,
You're that kind of place?
Right.
yeah. They think it's a happy ending type deal. I'm like, no, bro. Like, first of all, our haircut's done.
With that said, I think next week we can probably go into more of the scrubs and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we all and yes, and part of it is to push the products that the product
Well,
line,
one of
the services
things,
that
too,
we
is
do.
like people think that scrubs are only for your face. Like,
Yeah.
like I use a scalp. Well, I'll tell y'all later.
That-
Tune in.
That'll be the next tip. But I do think in leaving with this, we do bring this up because we do offer the service, as you said, of facials, and I do think that it's good at minimum to try to get a facial at least once a month. Recommended maybe once a week or every other week, but at least once a month too. Because what you're gonna get here that you're not gonna completely get in the shower or wherever is you're getting the steam, you're getting more in there, and then you have someone that's doing it and watching it and really, putting the scrubs, going through the mask, going through the whole thing. Because we'll talk about mask later on because that's another portion of the routine.
Yeah, we have a pretty good routine like on facials here. Like, we push it hard. Like, we try to get people to do it, and honestly, like, ours is like 20 minutes.
It's
Yeah.
not anything super in depth. It's kind of like a
It's relaxing.
Manny's got
Very
kind of-
relaxing.
It's like it's
Oh my
just
God.
it's nice in general.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's-
your skin feel?
I
like-
recommend every man get a facial.
Yeah, it's like when women get their nails done and they just feel like it's just that's their pampering. This is your pampering.
Yeah.
Like doing it in the restroom or in the shower is never gonna compare to when you get the facial here. Like, it's just a different feel. Like,
Way different.
most people fall.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you. I'm
Manny's
telling
gonna
you.
be our
I'm telling
demo
you.
guy for the facial on the
Hey,
next episode.
I'm telling you, man. It was lovely.
So definitely recommend you guys go and try to get at least a moisturizer and a cleanser. We'll go into toners and serums and masks and scrubs on the next one. And again, recommend come and try it out. Come try to schedule
Yeah.
it, get a facial, try it out once, see how it feels. Again,
We've had people
recommend
that
it.
when they get their first one, and then they're just like addicted to it. They're like, oh, I'm gonna like. I have one guy, he got it once, and now every time he books an appointment, he makes sure he books the facial too because he just loves it. Like, yeah, there's our client Edgar, he loves the facials. He's just like, and he was kind of like, oh, I don't know what it really is, and I don't know. And he learned through the process, and he's like, he actually bought some products from us and everything because he was just like, oh man, this is like really good. Like, it's honestly, I don't want to sound cliche, but it is like kind of like life changing for people. Like, because they don't know, like they really think like they're walking around.
I could kind of agree with that, man. Like, seriously, it's
just
just
nice
different.
to have.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just
it changed.
It's
your
just
life.
different, man. It's like
Who's?
Yours.
Oh, hey, you gotta clean her face. I mean, I don't know.
No, like you
but your perspective is a little bit different
Yeah, now you're like into skin.
Like,
well,
you literally
skincare.
just talked about how, like, now you make sure, like, when you're gonna be in in the sun environment, that you're
put
gonna
that
do
SPF
different.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
you're more
life-changing.
conscious now.
I've been born again into the facial and
Yeah, and
face
it's
cleansing,
because it what is it?
exfoliates.
Yeah.
There we go.
Once I hear it once or twice, I'm good.
Got
It's
it.
just the
Yeah,
first
got
one.
it.
It's just the first one.
Find out.
But again, definitely
Wait, so wait.
recommend. And then just make sure that you guys are asking questions. Ask questions when
You come in
and
here
stuff
and
like
ask
that.
questions.
Don't be embarrassed by
Yeah.
it. That's one of the things. Like, I wouldn't have asked questions at first, and now I ask questions. I learn about it. And I do. Like, look, I know Google can have some bad information, but if you're reading the right stuff, you can find good information. And if you find it in 2 or 3 different articles, usually they'll confirm, deny a lot of things. So Like I read up on a lot of different things. Like
Yeah, we tell people to come by. Even if I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, come by. Even if you're not going to get a haircut and you want to hang out and talk to us, like that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like, because we're not always busy, and if we are busy, you can talk to all three of us, the client.
don't we
us,
always
and-
want to be busy.
Yeah, we always
Yeah,
want to be
but-
busy, but there's time.
I love when our clients just come by and like hang out.
With that segment, moving into the business part,
Yeah,
Yeah.
of always staying busy. You know, we've talked the last couple of times about tips, and we're talking about small businesses, and I think inflation is hitting. We've spoken on inflation, and I was reading an article not too long ago, and I actually thought it was very
from
good.
Google.
It was probably from Google. It was from the Harvard Business School, but it was brought up through Google. So there are good resources in Google. You just gotta find the right one. Like if you're gonna go read the guy in the basement article, then yeah, maybe a little worried. But Harvard Business School,
That's where the truth is at. Though.
That is, we found out this weekend. That is definitely where the truth is at.
Yeah,
Harvard Business School.
the guy in the
No, the
basement.
guy in the
No, the
basement.
guy in the basement.
Could be
Yeah.
the guy in the hill country.
Yeah, our host was
Our Airbnb host was.
I'd be worried about those facials.
Well, he didn't give us
Okay,
facials.
well.
First of all, he didn't give us facials. But he was definitely he was letting us know that he learned a lot about the Illuminati through TikTok.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's really fun.
Hey, TikTok,
Oh.
legit.
Okay.
Chinese know what they're doing. Making America a little dumber. One video. at a time.
Yeah, from what I heard, that's like when you like if you're in China, like they promote more the educational side of TikTok.
A lot of the American
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
is not over there in the China TikTok.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's
They
their
banned
fault
it,
or
though.
our
But
fault.
they banned it though.
No, it's a mix of both. But I think they even shut it down. At
Yeah,
certain
they
times
banned it.
where
Yeah.
So you're not there all night looking at it.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different things. So going into the business part of it, you know, inflation is not going away, and I think some people think inflation is a dirty word. I don't think people, because we hear it right now and it's being tossed everywhere. But you have to understand, in the economy, there's
as
always
dirty
gonna be
as
inflation.
facials.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe it's that.
All right, I'm done.
I'm done with that joke. We're moving on, bro. I think what people miss when it comes to inflation is that it's always going to be around. Typically in the US, you'll have like somewhere between 2% and less. And inflation is typically good when it's at that controllable level, right? That's why people's wages go up. That's why, you know, people are making more profit, things like that. And it's a steady base where you start studying and looking at that. That's why something that cost, you know, back in early 2000s versus now, the price is going to be different. Could be cheaper, could be a little bit more expensive. Some of that is due to the inflation that we see going on and the trades that we see opening and closing. From a small business aspect, you have two choices when it comes to inflation. When it gets out of control, which we're currently in a status where inflation is out of control. It's rapidly growing. There's no steady basis. It will level out, and then it may get back to a reduced state of where we're holding it at 2. I doubt we'll ever. I doubt you'll see a deflation. Maybe during a recession, there's maybe some deflation, but but I think for the most part, what you have to do as a business owner, you have two choices: you hold down the fort and survive, or you grow through it. And the right answer is going to be based on the business.
Yeah. Like right now, we're kind of just riding the waves. Like we're just like watching, seeing what's going on. Like we're gonna make some moves, but like you don't want to panic moves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to just panic and be like, okay, we're gonna raise our prices. Hey, we're gonna do this. Like, because I mean, that was one of the things that I don't know if you had conversations, but they're just like, are you guys gonna raise y'all's prices? And I'm like, right now we're good. Like we don't. I was like, but that determines on what's happening in the future and everything. But right now we're good. Like we're not, you know, we're not looking at it as in like, oh, we need to do something quick. Like,
well, here's the thing, and that's why I said it depends on the business, and that's why it's important. Small business owners, you don't have to be educated in finances and stuff like that, but you do need to be read up, and you got into a business that you hopefully somewhat understand, and when inflation hits like the way it's hitting right now, if you're a heavy capital business, it is going to be tough for you. So for instance, if you're needing to invest in equipment, you're going to pay more now than you would have paid last year because all the price of it gone up. So if your business is heavily on buying new equipment because you need it to do your manufacturing, your production, your stuff like that, and this is what
You're
corporations
buying and selling.
And this is what corporations do. They look at it and they have people to study it. And what you got to start asking yourself, is it cheaper for me, instead of buying the new item, can I fix it to where inflation levels out and then I invest, right? Because what you have to look at is interest and your return on investment. So when you're buying new equipment, you're investing a certain amount of money. It's going to take a certain amount to come back. For a business like ours, we're pretty good through inflation because all our investments was done early on. All our capital investment was done in the beginning. That's the chairs, that's the machines. You're not going to have very much turnover. Yeah, clippers. You're not going to have very much turnover on heavy investment on equipment. Like you may change out a clipper here and there. What are you talking about? 50, 60 bucks maybe?
No.
But I mean a high end, or maybe even lower.
No.
I mean like 150.
The lowers
150,
are like you're looking. The lowest is you're looking at 80 to 100.
Yeah, but you're looking at 80 to 100. So based on that, the money you make, if you're doing the studying of a haircut, you can earn back that money in a matter of a week, and now you're back at a profit level for that investment of the equipment.
Yeah.
Versus if you're a heavy manufacturing and you got to spend hundreds of thousands on an item, now you have to figure out how long is it going to take me to return that investment. And so that's why during inflation, when it's out of control right now and it affects everything from the oil to what's going on, if I had to buy a heavy equipment, it's going to cost me more. So it's going to take me longer to make back that money. And so you have to decide for yourself on, can I fix something and hold off until it levels out? Because for a business owner, even a matter of, let's say you're looking at $200,000 for something, and now you're paying $220,000. But if I hold off 6 months, maybe it levels back out to 200 or 210. $10,000 difference is a huge difference, and allows you to start making your profits again quicker. And so you kind of have to think about that. Now, again, that's not it. You have to know your business. You got to know what's going on, because if your business is sustained by that machine and you can't fix it and you need it to sustain, then it's worth buying it, right? Because if not, your business folds.
You're gonna be out of there.
So I think during inflation, I recommend people to do, one is know your business, know where your money, what you're spending, right? Whether it's capital, whether it's inventory, right? So there's not a blanket answer. That's the thing. Like for us, if we're looking at something, right, and if I'm studying the market, and let's say that we use, I don't know, it's a hard example to use here, but like let's say that we were carrying pomade, right, heavy pomade, right, and we're selling it and stuff like that. And if I was studying the pomade industry, and I know that's gonna go up, there's potential that goes up 20% in the next month or two, it's better for me to buy right now, even though it's higher, hold on to that inventory, because I can still sell and I can hope that the market levels out. And now you have to decide, is it perishable, things like that. So every industry is going to be a little different. But I think the one recommendation is know your supply chain, know your industry, know what you're doing, and then study the market. You don't have to be you don't have to be an expert in finances. You nearly just need to be able to Google, read the right articles, look at the right websites. There's the indexes. The U.S. Labor Bureau of Labor has the indexes, which shows like, okay, gasoline's going up. Well, if you're getting a lot of deliveries and stuff like that, that's going to go up. That affects a lot of things. And so I think it's important as business owners not to be afraid of inflation and just make business decisions blindly.
You got to adapt.
Yeah. You have to adapt, but you got to know what you're adapting to, right? Because you just gave a great example. Most business owners who don't understand inflation, they say, oh, inflation's happening, everyone's increasing their pricing, so I need to increase my price. that may not be the call for your industry, right? Like we were talking about the last time, right? We think haircuts are important, but if we're being honest, is it a necessity?
Yes.
Yes, yes, because we want you to come. But the honesty of it is, typically your necessities are water. Shelter, food.
Yeah.
Haircut.
Haircut.
All right, and then haircut.
We're gonna add haircut.
Because you need confidence. Like, I mean, what if
You need
if you don't
confidence
have
in
any
this
confidence,
inflation.
then you're not going to be able to go to work.
Well,
And that
not
means
only
you're not going to make
infl-
money.
Well, I don't know about that.
We
because-
need to inflate your confidence.
When you
I
spend
don't know.
when you spend your food money for a haircut,
Yeah,
you will
something
die
ain't right.
confidently.
yeah, you're right.
You'll be looking good.
You
in
will
the
look
afterlife.
good in your casket. That's all that matters.
You're gonna have a really clean cut in your ghost form.
Like,
Yeah. No.
No,
we're
because
gonna inflate your confidence. You're
but the
Nah.
reason we say that, like, I do think it's important to get haircuts. I do think all of that, right? I mean that I am partnered in a business for that. So, but if we're not honest, make an honest statement, you would have people laugh at us and you lose all credibility.
Yeah, that makes sense
You know,
though, because
but-
it slowed down a little.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, people will realize once they start budgeting, right? Because what happened was, you were used to spending so much money prior to inflation. Inflation hit, and now you're spending $20, $30, $40 more every time you go to the
Same
gas
thing.
station, which
Yep.
was a $20, $30, $40 you were spending
Same
on
thing. Yep.
games, you're spending on drinking,
Whatever.
you're spending on partying, you're spending on whatever it was. You're
Yep.
just you're
Yeah.
spending on those
These are
things.
facts.
And so now
These
you
are
have to
facts.
decide, okay, do I spend it on those things or do I spend it on my gas? And so now it becomes a whole scenario, right? What will happen is the market will start leveling out. It's good. Look, the thing is, will the price of oil, will we ever get back? I don't think we'll ever get back to $1, $2,
Yeah.
$3 gas. Maybe we'll get back to a $3 somewhere
Yeah.
under
I think we
three,
might
high
get-
threes.
It might
Yeah.
be 360.
Like
High,
350, I think.
mid to high threes, I think we may get back.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They know we're willing to pay it.
yeah, of course.
So two things are going to happen. Either people stop traveling and it affects the oil gas industry and it goes down, or two, people keep traveling but then they make demands and you get higher wages to cover those. Or we just go through a recession. So
like that's-
Looks like that's where it's headed.
so there's quite a bit of different
That's
things
what
that
the
trigger
feds
that.
want, right?
But
That's what the feds want to do, right?
The Fed has said that's not what they want to do. They're basically saying,
That's what.
if you're relying on the Fed and the interest rates to happen, they're saying, in order, like, if we're not going to do anything else, so if the president, if the Congress, Senate, and all them are not going to do anything to help with inflation, and this is not a political stance. What I'm saying is, if they're going to keep at status quo right now and they're relying on the Feds to do it, the Fed is basically saying interest rates will go up, but we need about 10% of people to lose their jobs, which would push us into a recession, which would allow it to level set. Because right now, you have to remember, prior to the interest rates and inflation hitting, in the midst of the pandemic, we had some of the lowest interest rates. So people were buying houses, people were buying cars.
Yep.
Like, you have to remember, like, you couldn't
Yep.
find a car for a while. You still can't find. Part of it was that there's also wasn't enough microchips, but it's that interests were so low. That's why houses were going ridiculously. People were paying above appraisal price for houses. And so you have a whole thing going there. Well, you push that so high that now when inflation
crash.
hits and stuff like that,
Yeah.
something has to happen. It's
gonna
going to
crash.
level set.
Yeah.
And this is the ever flow of the market.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's done it before.
But the problem is how do you react to it, right? People will look at it and you have to make the business decision. Like, some businesses, the time is still to grow, right? So maybe you're not heavily investing in big materials and stuff like that, but you want people still come in. So you figure out to run specials. You go into advertising. You look at you start looking at, you not say going cheaper, but you start looking at alternatives, right? What alternatives do I have? Like, if I was running a something that I was packaging and this packaging was premium, it was a great packaging, it made sense because it was only a few cents more, but now there's a huge difference. Can I go for a cheaper packaging without affecting my product?
Yeah. Like even cutting things that you really like the shirts. I mean, like, they keep asking, like, you guys gonna make more shirts? And I'm like, well, right now, like, with everything going on, like, that's like the last thing that we're thinking about.
Yeah.
Like, it does help us, but it doesn't help us a lot. So it's like, do we really want to put in money right now with the shirts, and then they might sit there for a bit? Like, so, like, and I mean, we still might do it, but right now it's not the highest priority.
Yeah.
It's like, we want to make sure like these things are going really well so we can make the money off of those things, and then we'll see what's up with those, with all the extra stuff. Like,
yeah, well, and I think part of it is you have to look at what your business is, right? So like for us right now, our business is Barbershop, but if you look at the dream of Local Love LLC, it is more of a brand.
yeah,
You know, we push a brand. Right now the brand is the haircuts, the stuff like that.
no, the podcast.
The podcast, there'll be other things that we would add onto it and things like that.
Illuminati.
But I think I think what's important is that people understand. If you're a business owner, especially a small business owner, utilize the tools around you. You don't have to be an expert in supply chain and things like that. And then utilize, like we're talking about it right now. I don't know everything about inflation. I don't know everything about supply chain. I know a lot about it because I deal with supply chain on a daily basis for a corporation. But a lot of that is because I learned from reading and doing stuff and just past experience. And I think there's so much information at your fingertips. You have to learn and look at it and really understand your business, because that's what big corporations do. They hire people to do this. You're a small business owner, you don't have the workforce to do it, so you have to be the one that's looking at at it and decide. Like, it may make sense. Like if I was a truck driver right now, it's gonna make sense for me to invest in my truck even if the price is going up, because that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But I may do things to make sure, like where I may have been careless in the past, I'm gonna have to be more careful about how do I get this every ounce out of this truck to keep it running.
Yeah, you gotta hustle. Like, inflation just makes, for us, like, at least the way I see it, is just making us hustle more.
Yeah.
That's all it's making us do. Like, we're okay, we gotta do this. Okay, we gotta do this. Okay, we gotta keep promoting. We gotta push the products out more. We gotta make sure, like, you know, the clients are leaving satisfied. Like, you know, make sure we give out our cards every time a new person comes in. Like, you know, you kind of, you just get down. Like, you just hunker, what is it called? Hunker down or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you just, you can't, I think a lot of, like, when this happens, like I said, like, people get scared and then they back off, and it's like, no, this is the time to push forward. Like, this is the time to
that's why I think, like, that's what I was saying. Like, every person has to, like, every business owner has to decide, like, two choices. Are you gonna hunker down and just kind of just try to survive, or are you gonna push for growth? My thought process for our business, looking at it, is you push for growth. So you continue to advertise, you continue to push, you don't pull back. You figure out how do you adjust, because it's gonna level set.
Yeah.
And what you don't want is people forget who you are, forget the feelings, forget those things, because you were playing it safe. But again, that's not the answer for every business. You got to know your business. You got to know what you're doing. And I think that's why we also have this podcast. We're going to have other small business owners coming on. They're going to talk about their things, but you guys can ask questions in the comments too. And we can research, we can talk, we can figure out. We're not always going to be right, but we could generate ideas. We can, and I think utilizing those things is helpful, especially during these times.
Yeah, helping out each other. I mean, that's part of the whole thing of community, is like I want to help out, like with Chris, Gemini Vato. Like, I want to promote him because he promotes us all the time. Like, I want to push him out too. Like, you know, like, that's part of the whole thing. Like, you, especially with small businesses, because like, if we get hit, they get hit.
And I think that's where you have to be honest with yourself as a small business. When you're looking at it, you also have to look at, is your business considered a necessity, or is it just part of if people have disposable incomes, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of businesses are built on disposable income.
Yeah, well, like I've told you, like, there's certain times where we're on top of the list, and then there's certain times in the year that we fall all the way to the bottom. They're like, I don't need a haircut right now. I don't need to do this. And then it starts coming up, like summer, we typically on the top of the list because it's too hot, and they're just like, man, like, I'm sweating just standing out. Had a guy, he came in, he's like, I'm gonna go short again because I'm standing outside and I'm just sweating. He doesn't even work outside, but he's just tired of going out there and sweating already. Like, so we become top of the list. Like, there's holidays usually. We're which is crazy because, like, right now holidays is kind of weird for us because it's like we're becoming lower on the list because they need to buy the food and everything now, and now that's becoming a
It's
thing
just like,
where
it's just like what he said when you're saying like, what do you need?
Yeah.
Food,
So, like,
you know.
yeah, exactly.
shelter.
Because now, like, you're not
So,
buying your typical
right.
food. You're buying like for like almost 17 people at one point. So you might be like, oh well, I'll just skip out on my haircut.
Yeah.
But you know, then they see themselves in the pictures. They're like, damn, I should have got that haircut. But like,
Save yourself the embarrassment of the picture and get the haircut.
get the haircut.
I mean,
It's
stuff on the internet
not
now
gonna hurt
lasts
you.
forever.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad haircut or like you look like a caveman, like the year
This is-
2022,
this
you're
is-
always gonna look like a caveman.
This is the local love fear tactic to get you to get your haircuts.
like
your
TikTok. We don't. America doesn't shut it down, so we're gonna see you on TikTok with that messed up hair. Like,
That's the next advertisement. Always be TikTok ready at local love barbershop.
yeah. Honestly, though, because like you have Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok,
Yeah.
and Facebook isn't too much of a facial thing, but the other three
No.
are all facial. Like you're always gonna be on, and honestly, like people will say like, damn, like I've seen we barbers will make fun of NBA players because they're like, damn, who did his haircut? That dude's walking around messed up. Like
I'm like, y'all got so much money, like y'all couldn't find a good
Exactly.
barber.
decent barber, and that's just the NBA. Like people will look at like those are all facial things, and those are things that people use every single day.
I mean, look what they did to Kevin Durant like 2 years ago.
Oh,
They like
they
bullied
just
the
messed-
heck out of him for his hair, and I was just like,
There's this
Ain't nobody
one,
safe.
this one video where some
Hey, but you got to be truthful though. That boy got some nappy. He got some nappy ass hair. That boy got some nappy ass. His hair nappy,
There's a
bro.
video where some guy brings out a brush on the TV and he's brushing Durant's hair. It's like, so I mean, it is like us pushing the barbershop, but it's honestly the truth.
Yeah,
Like,
no, and that's fine. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing. So, again, if you guys want, if there's certain subjects on small businesses, or maybe there's this conversation got you thinking about something, feel free to put it in the comments, and we'll either answer it there or we'll bring it up on the next podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess moving into our lightning round
or speed round,
or
Yeah.
whatever we're calling it.
or Ezra Miller round.
The what?
Ezra Miller, he's the one that
The guy
plays
that
the Flash.
He
He's
keeps
going
beating up
crazy.
women in Hawaii.
Wow, we are not calling it that.
What?
Wait,
Ezra Miller?
did he just get charged for like an underage?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's grooming.
What?
But he bailed out. I think
What?
he got bail. He made bail.
Yeah, he still has not
he's
been
out
locked
there.
up yet.
So these are just
Hide your wife.
quick rounds. Some,
Okay.
some serious, some funny, some serious, some funny. So serious. The 51 in the trailer. Thoughts?
Oh,
That's just sad, man.
So
Like, like I don't know all the details, but it's just sad altogether. It's just like, damn.
Yeah.
yeah, that one's heavy.
Yeah.
that's
And
real
you know, it kind of sucks because like it's not being put out there as much as I feel like 51 people just died, like, and I don't see the outrage on it. It's like, dude, like,
Yeah, I think it did. It hit for a while, but I feel like it's been national, but I don't know if it went all the way. Again, I mean, I think people started, some were using it as political stances and things like that. I think there's not one fix to it. You can try to think there's like any of our political issues or issues that we face.
catch.
There's more. There's more to it than just one fix. So, yeah, I definitely think it's sad. I don't know how you completely fix it.
yeah, I don't know, like, just wild. It's just wild, like, because what's crazy is we had an incident, like 3 years ago at the Walmart. Remember they left those people in there. The same thing. It's like
Same thing.
Same thing.
like I think those people were blessed enough to be alive.
Yeah.
But these, like, man, imagine just like, I don't even know, like, I'm saying imagine, but I don't know how to, like, you're in there and people are just
Yeah.
falling.
Dropping.
Yeah, and you're in there, and
Didn't they say that the driver got in there too to act like he was a part of it or something like that?
Oh, really?
I don't know. See, yeah,
They
I don't
said
know a
that
lot of
he-
information.
Yeah, they said
about
that
it.
the driver actually got in the truck to act like he was a part of it, and then they found out that he actually wasn't. He was the driver. Right?
Because they said there's about like 3 suspects now.
Well, that's what someone was saying. When
Yeah. One of my clients was saying that there's about 3 suspects in
man.
there. Like, just even like the people that survived, just the mental.
I was like, I mean, if you survive, like, is it worse? Because now you have to live.
I
with,
know.
like, seeing your family and like kids and stuff, just like slowly.
just even, like,
die.
and it's gonna sound kind of shallow, but just the stench that you're gonna be like that sticks. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
like I've
Oh, yeah.
known people that have walked into.
You're gonna, let me.
Yeah, it sticks
you-
with you.
You're gonna remember that.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna tell you from. You gonna remember it.
yeah, and
So,
that's you're in there. What was it, like 14 people were in there with 51 bodies just gone.
In the Texas heat, it's just that's gonna go real sour.
Honestly, you don't even think you're gonna survive probably because 51 people just died, and you're looking at it like, yeah, we're gonna die too. Like, it's wild. That one, that's sad.
It's terrible, man.
yep. No, I completely
Yeah.
agree. Next topic: R. Kelly getting 30 years.
Good.
It's good, but I don't know how he got more years than
Just
Maxwell. Yeah,
Just Lane Maxwell.
yeah. I don't know how he got 30 and she got 20. Like, I'm like,
She had higher clientele.
What a
I
world.
guess so.
we live in.
Like that's wild to me. Like, but he deserved it. Like, even the first time when he got away with it, like I always bring up, is that he did an interview and they said something about age, and he's like, "Whoa, how young is too young?" And I was just like, "Dude, you just got out of trouble." I was like, "Why would you say that?" I was like, "God, R. Kelly, like."
It's not the remark you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like, especially because you got away with it the first time, and then you're just, we're
Yeah. What's crazy about all of that is that like even when you have that going on and you have that even when you have all of that going on, sorry, we had someone looking into a barbershop.
Yeah.
Thinking we're still and probably wondering why are these people on mics?
they're doing that. They're like,
Yeah,
do they do
Yeah.
women's hair?
yeah.
right.
It's just
She's
like,
like, wow.
we got a live
can both
audience
get
on
our
this
hair
thing,
cut.
so it's cool. But it's funny. I even heard them say they're doing a
He's a
podcast.
podcast in there. They're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because people like we go through that the whole day. They were just like,
Do you feel like an animal in the zoo?
I feel like we're in a fishbowl.
Oh, I was gonna
Especially
say,
because I'm in the
like a
front.
fish.
People do like they do this
they do the
thing,
most sometimes.
and I'm like, you can see inside here. Just
maybe you
standing out
can.
there.
Maybe they can.
No, you can see.
You do know
And
you
so
can
I'm
see
like,
it.
why are you doing this? Like as if
It's just
you're, like-
better. It's just better.
I wave at them
Yeah,
because it
and
throws
sometimes
them
you
off.
look at them and you're like, oh.
They don't know that they're staring a
And
lot
they
of
just
times.
walk off to
So
because they get
I
like,
go, I'm like, hey, and they're like, oh,
yeah.
like, yeah, you're staring
The,
here.
the sad part about R. Kelly is like when you look at they did that show or whatever it
On
was.
Netflix.
Was it Netflix?
Yeah, it was
No.
It's like escaping R. Kelly or something.
Yeah,
It was
so-
Netflix.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nah, it came out on.
You sure? I saw something on Netflix. With
No, I think they put it on later, but it was like an A&E type
A&E,
deal. Yeah,
something like that.
it was on national.
I mean, but seeing
TV
how some
at
of the
first.
seeing what some of the women went through and what they, like how they were at one point defending them, then kind of getting out of the brainwashing and stuff.
Yeah,
Stop
like
calling
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was using like I think it's called like the Romeo effect, where like they make you think that you're in love with your predator, and like they have you brainwashed. Like it's literally a brainwash. Like one of the things, and I saw it on there, is like when they start speaking to you, you just stop what you're doing, and you're just like whatever they're telling you, you just stop. Like you just stop in your tracks. And there was a scene where this girl he got a hold of her supposedly, and like she just stopped and started talking on the phone. Like you see it, she just pauses, and that's just one of
I
the
thought somebody
effects.
had that much control. Well, anyway.
I mean, it's just crazy.
They use that tactic in sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a brainwashing method of just making you think like they know what's best for you.
So you had a topic you wanted to bring up in the speed round?
Oh, the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are idiots.
Sam's been waiting all day
Yeah,
to
Spurs-
come in to like talk about
Yeah,
it.
Spurs. You guys gave up Murray for like nothing.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And he said, but
I don't
to
remember.
be fair, he said that he wasn't gonna do the extension or whatever.
Well, that's probably why they got rid of him. Like they weren't going. Well, like why are they gonna waste time? And at least they get.
At least try to negotiate with the man.
Well, they got future picks, and they got. I can't remember who this. I feel like I remember his name. Like I remember him. I gotta look him up because
I think with Murray, you guys could have got something better than what you guys got. Like as Collins wants out of Atlanta, and like they didn't even get him. It's like
I don't think they would. I don't think they were putting him on the trade block. I'm sure they were.
you don't know. I mean, he wants out. Shoot, you guys should have waited another day because KD wants out.
What is that right?
Yeah, KD's trying to get
Shut
traded.
up.
What do you think
For
about
him.
what do you think about Westbrook opting into his contract? It's not a big surprise.
Whatever, man.
He got to do something. Ain't no one
doing
want that
nothing.
dude.
Nobody want that dude.
That was surprising.
Yes.
Is Harden opted out of his contract.
He did
too.
Yeah, he opted out of his contract, but they're saying that part of it is a re-signing. And I saw this.
If
yesterday,
Philly
so I don't know.
re-signs him and gives him more money,
No, re-signing for less so that they have more cap room to bring in more talent.
you think that man is going to do that?
I think if
He's too prideful. He literally got traded over there because he didn't like Brooklyn. He got traded from the Rockets because he didn't like the Rockets after a while. He's too prideful. He ain't trying to opt out for less money.
I think if it helps them still what he thinks is a NBA championship, I think he might.
You can't win an NBA championship with Harden.
And he might be looking at it as
Once upon a time, you could have.
He might be signing.
now, no.
He might be signing for less money but more years. Because after that big contract, who is going to sign him anymore?
No, I mean, you can't only make 2 points in the playoffs and then you're gonna get signed for a big contract.
Look, Sam, he's thugging it.
Tugging it.
Kyrie Irving re-signed with. He opted into his contract.
Yeah, that was a smart move. But I think he did that, and that's what affected KD and wanting to leave because KD already knew he was going to leave because like Kyrie, like I like Kyrie, but he's being really dumb right now. Like he should, if he was gonna stay with them, he should have never went out there and been like, oh, I might go with the Lakers or I might go with this team he should have just stayed in his place. But he did it, and now he broke up that team already. Like, but KD's just he's being a team hopper. Like, I don't even. Where do you think he's gonna land?
Lakers.
Oh man,
If you go to the Lakers,
So
boy.
now-
what's he gonna do over there?
So
Heard it here first.
So as we start aiming to close up, since Nisa is our first guest and she's
Yeah.
in the barber hot seat,
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is the speed round for her.
yeah.
Does your anxiety just shoot up?
Maybe.
Like you're about to run out?
Maybe I have nothing but caffeine in my system.
No, just throw the mic. No, it should be. It's just gonna be a lot of just quick answers, quick questions. Easiest haircut to do.
Easiest haircut? Like anything above a 1 on the sides.
Hardest haircut.
Skin fade on like people with super coarse hair. I don't like it.
Weirdest haircut you've been asked to do.
Probably the recent one we say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, there's this one fella, and he'd get like this undercut kind of thing. It was hard to explain, but it was like an undercut, but it wasn't an undercut because it went to the side. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't want to say names.
No.
That's what
Okay.
he asked for.
Well, it's just more. It's just more.
Just outed him already.
Oh, here you go. Moving to the next question.
Damn, now I'm gonna try to figure out who it is.
My favorite haircut is a mullet. So if you want a mullet, please come in.
She loves doing mullets. That's true.
That's great.
Okay.
God, I had one for you. Just slipped. Oh, weirdest
Favorite female haircut?
What's your favorite to do? Perm or highlights?
weirdest comment that you've heard from a customer?
Weirdest?
Yeah.
You're the first woman I've let cut my hair. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand what they expect me to say back.
It was life changing.
Like normally I'm kind of like, okay, and then I just keep going.
You should tell them you're the first man I've cut hair.
Yeah.
It's the other you react.
I should be like, well, you're the first woman I've.
You should have said, I never cut hair before ever.
Today's day one and just start.
Right.
Weirdest conversation you had with a client?
Weirdest conversation?
You're the first woman.
You're the first one.
Conversation. That was a weird comment, but
It's, I don't know, weird conversation. Like weird to like you or weird to me?
Weird to you. Why would it be weird to us?
Because like
You don't
some
even
stuff
know
that's
it.
like not weird to me is probably like
Okay,
weird to like.
I can
okay,
understand that.
both. What do you think's not weird to you that you think it would be weird to me?
I don't know. I feel like
You're
you
on
think
the
a
hot
lot
seat
of
right
things
now. You're in the hot seat right now.
It's burning. 'Cause you-
I don't know. It's not an answer we accept.
yeah, we can't.
Well, I don't know.
That's not
Okay.
a good answer. We need.
Weird
Detail.
conversations.
Yeah, like the
I
guy
have
that.
people like come in where it's like, well, I guess this is weird. Where people come in for the very first time and they like, this is their very first time in. This is the first time you've met them, and they go like in on their personal life. Like they get into like the nitty gritty
Oh.
details, and I'm like, ooh, this is too much info that I didn't want to know about you, sir.
Like I just called my wife cheating on me last
Yeah, like they'll
night.
come in like, oh yeah, I went on this
I
date
gotta
with
get
this
this
girl
haircut.
that I met off Tinder, and they start going to like
Ooh.
details of their date, and I'm like, this is
Tinder
not what I was asking.
Okay.
That sounds like another podcast. Tinder stories.
Okay.
I don't get a lot of Tinder stories, honestly. That's
I've heard a
which is
couple, and I'm
wild.
just like,
The only thing
Okay.
I remember, one of my clients was just like, he's like, he had just became single, and he was like, Sam, don't go out there, man. He's like, stay in your relationship, man, because it's crazy out here. He's like, this Tinder thing is crazy. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, dude, it's crazy.
So, if you were gonna change your hair to another color, what would it be?
it'd be blue.
You go
Blue's
back to
my-
blue.
Blue is it.
Like I had blue hair like for a straight 3 years, and that's why blue just kind of stuck. Plus, when I was in barber school, so my name's Anissa. No one can remember that. It's not a very hard name, but I get Alyssa, Anissa, Alicia, like every name under the sun except Anissa. So Lisa. Shout out Lee.
He said it was my fault too. I was like,
So he
and I
kept
thought you
calling
were
me
saying
Lisa?
Lisa the whole time.
And so then I just like was like, oh yeah, blue, and that's pretty simple. Typically people like that, but I like having blue hair. It feels pretty natural to me.
All right. One of the big questions. Most embarrassing moment.
Ooh,
Sammy told us his.
Yeah, I farted.
I was.
I don't really think that's embarrassing because that's just something naturally that's just.
Natural, but now when you're getting your haircut, I feel.
I mean,
I
if
feel a little
it's
weird
gotta
about
come
it.
out, it's gonna come out whether you like it or not.
It was embarrassing because I didn't know it was coming out. Like,
Oh, okay. Most embarrassing moment was, so I used to cut my dad's hair every other Saturday. Well, he's typically here when we get here. So one of Sam's clients walks in the door, and normally my dad walks in right after us. So I went to the back to like get towels ready for the day, and instinctively I'm like, "Hey, Dad!" Like, and it was Sam's client, and he's just like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry." I was like, "My dad, he's normally here at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do you want a water?" Like, I was trying to like find a way out of it, and then like when my dad walked in, I was like, "This is my dad." Like, I was like, so he's here. Like, I didn't just call you like dad.
Right.
He's like, they're really friendly.
Yeah.
They're already calling me
I
daddy.
was like,
when
"Hey,
they call
Dad,
me
you want
daddy.
water?"
Up in here.
They're calling me daddy when they call me.
And then I was like, "Oh."
he's like, hope Sam calls me the same thing.
He's like, can you call me daddy when you come out here?
And I was like, "Oh, sorry." That's
All
probably
right,
my most.
last question. Proudest moment in being a barber.
Proudest? I don't know. I have two.
Okay.
So like two. So I was managing a barbershop out in Fair Oaks Ranch for almost a year, and that was really cool because I was pretty fresh. I was like 2 years out of school, and I was already managing a barbershop with like
cool.
5 barbers and 2 receptionists.
Dope.
So that was really cool. I was really super hyped about that. I was only there for a
Dope.
couple months, and then they were like, "Hey, you seem responsible. Do you want a shot of this?"
Responsible.
And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Still.
I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I managed a
Sometimes
barbershop.
you wake up in the morning.
So that was really cool. That was a super proud
cool.
moment. And I guess like starting here and like being able to like have a place.
Pick out the art.
I got to pick out the colors of the wall. Just kidding. I got to pick out the art and stuff. That was cool. But like just being here and like having a home where like now this like
Yeah.
feels like home where I want to like be here and like having like my clients follow me. Like I have a couple of clients that followed me from when I was in Fair Oaks Ranch, and they went to Bernie with me. They went to 2 of the other barbershop locations that I worked at in San Antonio, and now they're here. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Speaking of the color of the light, it's crazy. Like, I wasn't iffy, but people were kind of like green, even when they were asking me like, "What color are you guys gonna do at the barbershop?" Just because you mentioned it, and I was like, "We're gonna do mint green." They're like,
Mint green.
mint green. And I was like, "Yeah, mint green." They're some of them were really like, I could tell like they're like, "Damn, Sam's an idiot," and everyone loves our color. Like everyone loves our color. Like they tell us all the time, like, "Man, like this is really dope." One of my ex, like, she still comes here, but she goes to Blue more now. But she tells her all the time. She's like, "Yeah." When Sam said mint green, I was just like, I don't know. And
You mean one of your ex-clients, right?
yeah,
Okay, because you just said ex.
yeah. One of my ex
Sounds
clients.
a little weird.
Well, because I didn't want to say ex.
One of my exes goes with.
One of my exes.
Yeah, I turned her. She gets a haircut now from Bleak. Yeah, like
Oh man.
Like, where do I go from this?
yeah. So
I think you're in the hot seat now.
but yeah, they
Second most embarrassing moment in the book.
one of my it was with our friend Josh. And she gives him a compliment, and I was like, "Whoa, lady, he's married."
I was passing by and I was like, "Hey, that's a nice." I was like, "Nice haircut," and Sam was like, "Whoa, he's married," and like Josh
Playing
and I both
around.
look at each other.
They're both giving each other the look, and I was just like, "Oops." And
I went, "Okay," and I just
and
kept
then
going.
I tried to explain myself, and it just got
It got way worse.
deeper, and I was just like,
Aye.
yeah. But yeah, the green, the mint green. She was really iffy about it, and then when she came in, she was like, "Man, it worked out." Like, and honestly, it was I think you had decided. You're like, "Well, what are the chairs?" And I was like, I was gonna go with black, and you're like, "The stations," and I was like, "Black," and you're like, "Why don't we just do everything else black?" And that's what made the green pop out, and like people love our
It's a nice
mint
decor.
green. Yeah,
I also
And-
think it's like Ninja Turtle related because Sam.
yeah, they
They're
definitely.
like, "Wow, did he pick green for the Ninja Turtles?" And I'm like, honestly, I think subconsciously he might have.
It's like, first of all, where is there a mint green turtle? Learn your turtle colors.
Your turtle colors.
There ain't no mint green turtle out here.
Turtle 101, guys.
But they also say it's calming. They're like, yeah, the color, everything just calms. Like, so
I was only okay with it because mint chocolate chip is one of my favorite, and Bluebell is green coloring. Which doesn't make sense.
You gotta-
I mean, I guess it somewhat makes sense, but
Okay,
Mint-
relatable.
no, I'm saying it doesn't make sense that the ice cream is really green.
I don't.
Well, I
You
think
like that ice cream?
it enhances the mint because like you know how they say like you eat with your eyes. So like if you were to have like
Oh, wait,
I don't
am I
know,
getting
like-
confused? Yeah, the mint chocolate chip is green.
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, it is.
So is the pistachio.
I love pistachios.
All right. Well, so I know we got into that. So to close out, Nisa, do you have
Sun
any?
is like
Do you have any parting words?
Yeah.
kicking.
Yeah. I'm with
Uh,
you.
Do you have any parting words?
No.
You want to say anything to me?
You want to say something inspirational?
Go Bucks.
Go,
I thought you were a Spurs fan.
go Bucks, like Milwaukee Bucks.
She is a Giannis fan, like heart, like
After watching the movie, or what?
No, I accidentally became a Bucks fan.
Accidentally.
yeah. She randomly picked the Bucks to win the
Top of
playoffs last year,
They won all the way.
and then they literally won. I was like, well, that sucks.
With that,
Honestly, I was okay with the Bucks winning.
I would say as we close out, Gianna's story is pretty interesting. If you haven't had a
That was
chance,
a good one.
go watch the show on Disney Plus. It's
Have you seen it,
actually
Manny?
pretty good.
You gotta
It's actually a pretty good story, so check it out. As we close out again, we're gonna have in the description Mia's Vibes. So if you want to get a
Yeah.
bracelet, support a young
Yeah.
entrepreneur, and then also
We should definitely talk about Obi-Wan next time.
we can talk about Obi-Wan next time. And then also in the description we have our link for our if you want to make appointments. So please go in and support. And
Yeah.
again, thanks for joining us again.
And hold on, you know what? I'm just gonna throw something out there, man.
up?
Right, for a man, you put something in the comment. Any man, put the first man to put something in the comment about a facial. I'll pay for it.
Nice. So you, so
So-
you get a comment. You comment.
So let me know. Let me know.
Is it only in the YouTube one or when we post up on our Instagram?
Very first one. Whoever hits you up first.
I think in the
From
YouTube,
hearing this.
you gotta watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you gotta-
Whoever hits you up first. Whoever hits you up first. From
You gotta-
hearing
you
you.
gotta
Whatever
hit the
man.
You gotta hit the
Man.
Yeah.
Only a man. Born a man. Can you just specify? Born a man. I'll pay for a facial for him. Okay? Let me know. Let me know.
So again, hit us up in the comments, questions, whatever. Again, appreciate y'all support and helping us out. And with that said,
What? Do you want me to say it?
well, I guess it's your like little.
Local love is forever.
Yeah.
Thanks. You guys have a good one.
Bye.
I always think you're gonna say it.